Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another reading wrap up for the month. Excuse the fact I've got sunglasses on my head and it's not sunny. I really wasn't liking my hair situation, so I thought, you know what, sunglasses always makes my hair, to me, I don't know, it just helps when my hair's looking flat, and it was looking flat because I filmed a few different outfit TikToks today. I probably just need to invest in, what's it called, a headband. But I like the way my sunglasses look, so it literally does not matter, does it? No, it does not. So I read 17 books in March, which is pretty good going. I think that's a bit more than I read in Feb, because I had read 2 books by the 16th of March. Yep, so I caught up quick. I did a 24-hour readathon, which if I can link it in the video, I'll link it here. It's going out after this, so I might not be able to link it. Depends when I edit each of the videos, whatever. If I've not linked it, then you'll be able to see it. You'll only definitely be able to see it once it's out if I've linked it, so stay tuned for that. And I read quite a few books in that, and I also have just been reading very quickly. I've been trying to replace my screen time with reading. I did do a vlog replacing my screen time with other activities, reducing my screen time. It wasn't just a reading vlog, but I will link it here. It's just a video of me trying to reduce my screen time, and I did a lot of reading in that video. So yes, that is kind of all I have to say about that. I'm just going to jump into the video because what do we have to wait for? Nothing. I'm just trying to finish my smoothie right now. I'm actually going to get all the books down off my bookshelf, so give me a second and then we can get started. Clearly I wasn't prepared, I'm so sorry. Okay, we have a fair few books to get through. I've got some of them off my shelf. I did read a lot of Kindle books, so these are all the physical ones, but a lot on my Kindle. And I also did a good job with my TBR from my TBR jar video. If you want to go and watch that, here it is for my Feb TBR, and my March TBR video will also be up right now if you want to go and watch that. I will also link it here. So sorry about the self-plug, so many videos have been linked, but I don't know, it just makes it easier in case you want to go and watch those videos. So the only books I didn't read from my March TBR in March was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and then ACOTAR was also on it, and I've just started ACOTAR, not finished it yet, and I don't think I'll finish it tonight. It's currently the 31st of March when I'm filming this, because even if I do finish ACOTAR, I'll just include it in the next video because I'm also vlogging me reading ACOTAR, but I don't think I'll finish it tonight because I read about 50 pages last night, so I'd have to read basically all of it tonight. Don't think I'm going to do that, so let's get started. And just for anyone, if you want to go and follow my Goodreads or Fable just to keep up with what I'm reading in real time so you don't have to wait for these videos, it is linked in the description of all of my videos. Okay, let's just get started. So the first book that I read, I basically read it in one sitting, was Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I gave it 3.75 stars. I haven't read a Christina Lauren book before this in so long. It'd been at least a year, and I was so glad to be back. It was definitely different than a typical Christina Lauren book that I've read in the past, but I kind of loved that. So Lily is the main character, and her father Duke was an explorer. He very much believed in lots of these theories about treasure, about things being left, and after he died, Lily was left with a big journal of all of the treasure hunts and all of his findings and everything, and she doesn't really care about that type of thing, so she kind of doesn't explore it much, but she starts a business where she goes on these treasure hunts. So people pay to go on a little retreat, go on these treasure hunts. Her and her friend run it, and Leo is the main male character, and he spent 5 months living with Lily one summer, and then he had to go home, and they've not heard from each other since. And his friends surprise him with a trip to the treasure hunt business that Lily runs. Both of them are not aware that the other is going to be there, and they go on this treasure hunt and things go slightly wrong. So the group decide to follow Lily's dad's treasure hunting to try and find treasure that may or may not exist, and that is kind of the brief synopsis of the book. I thought it was a very quick read. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was very easy, fun and fast-paced. It's definitely not life-changing, but I did really enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it if you are looking for a good, fun, easy read. There's a bit of romance, but a bit of adventure, treasure hunting. I don't know, it's a bit more than just a romance book, which is fun. Okay, then the next book that I read is Full Tilt by Emma Scott. I read this on my Kindle. All I have to say is, oh my god. I gave it 4.25 stars. This book was so sad. If you're looking for a sad, gut-wrenching book, this is definitely the one. So Casey is the main female character and she is in a band, but she's really struggling just being in this band and with her own personal struggles. So I would say look up the trigger warnings for this book. Obviously kind of is a good practice for all books if you know you can be triggered, but definitely for this book it's a good thing to look up trigger warnings. Casey desperately wants to leave this band and she's been getting very drunk, and one morning she wakes up in a flat of someone that she does not know. It is her limo driver Jonah, because she threw up in the back of his limo, so he just took her to his house to kind of sleep it off or whatever, so she didn't have to go back into the house that she's been staying with all of her bandmates. Now this is kind of the sad part. It's on the blurb, so not a spoiler. Jonah is ill and only has a few months left, so he is not kind of wanting any distractions, and Casey is presenting herself as a distraction in his eyes, so he kind of just wants to get over with it, if you know what I mean. Get her back into the band. And Jonah is also working on an art exhibition which he wants to do before everything goes down, so he's very focused, but Casey asked to stay with him for a few days, so he says that she can, and the story goes from there. I thought it was so cute. So sad but so cute, so sweet and innocent. I really do recommend it. It was just so good. Okay, then the next few books I read in the Colour Wheel Picks My Reads for the Week, which, sorry, gonna link here. So the first book that I read was Date Me, Bryson Keller, and I gave this one 3.75 stars. If you like Heartstopper, I would say read this. It's a cute YA book, kind of giving Heartstopper vibes, so definitely read it. So Bryson is one of the main male characters, and he is given a dare where he is going to have to say yes to a date every week. So each week he kind of gets out the car and everyone runs and girls try and ask him on the date for the week. One day he arrives to school late, so he misses the whole kind of car park situation where he's normally asked out, and he's in drama class, and Kai, this other boy, asks him on a date, and he's never been asked out on a date with a boy. As far as he knows, he is straight. Kai is in the closet, so he knows his sexuality but is in the closet with it. Bryson, as far as he knows, thinks he's straight, but still he agrees to go out with him. He agrees to keep it a secret, but they're still going to kind of fake date. Kai has never been in a relationship before, so it's kind of almost practice for him, and then him and Kai spending time with each other, and it goes from that. It was really cute. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was very sweet and innocent and just a fun, silly, cute time. I would recommend it. Then I read The Full Risk by Abby Jimenez. This was just a little short story, one night before bed. I didn't want to pick out my next book of the Colour Wheel video, but I wanted another read, and this was a novella, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna read it. I think it was part of my, you know, Amazon do the first picks of the month where you, if you're a Prime member, you get one free book a month. Sometimes you get two, but that month I don't even know. Can't remember if I got one or two that month, but anyway, this was one of mine and it was really cute. I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars because obviously you're not getting too invested in kind of the story because it's only a novella. Often with these types of books, I know that I'd enjoy it even more if they were a full length book, but obviously I'm judging it just on what we have, and what we have is a novella that was very short. It was under 100 pages, I believe. So in it, Charlotte and Seth live in these apartments, and one day they wake up and their stairs have been removed because the builders removed the stairs of the wrong apartment building. So I think it might have been a Friday night or a Saturday morning, but anyway, the stairs aren't being replaced until the Monday, so they are stranded and they get an offer to go and stay in a hotel, but they both turn it down, especially Charlotte. She does not want to leave, and Seth is kind of, he thinks, you know what, I'm just going to stick it out as well. So in the story, they're stuck together. It's also Valentine's Day weekend, and obviously they spend time together because it's just those two. What else are they gonna do? They can't leave, they can't really do anything, and it goes from there. It was really cute. But again, would have much preferred it if it was a longer story, but I mean, what can you do? Not much. The next book that I read was Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This was so cute. Also, it was on Kindle Unlimited, so if you want to get it on there, definitely do. At least when I say books on Kindle Unlimited, they're on the UK Kindle Unlimited. I know there's some differences between the American, UK and other country ones, so they're always on the UK ones if I say on Kindle Unlimited, but I don't know about the other countries. But also Kindle Unlimited books always change, things often get removed or added to Kindle Unlimited, so obviously keep an eye on things. So Bailey and Charlie are the two main characters, and they met on a flight 4 years ago and they did not get along. They were sat next to each other, really irritated each other and not too fond of each other, but they didn't really see each other after that, interact after that. So it kind of, not that it slipped their mind, but they weren't obviously constantly thinking like, oh, I hate this person. But 4 years later, there is a new hotel where they live, and it turns out that they kind of live very close to each other, and they're both working in this hotel and they're in the same group. So this hotel, it's kind of a weird hotel. They split them up into different groups, so they've been put in the same group where they basically have to work together with other people, but those two are lumped together, and they are starting to form a slight friendship. But Charlie is a firm believer that girls and boys cannot be friends. He thinks that there's always going to be romance involved, and Bailey's very set on proving him wrong and that girls and boys can be friends if they want to. I mean, kind of such like a silly plot, but there you go. But they start spending time together, obviously start developing feelings. They also do fake date on a trip. They go away with Bailey's mum and her boyfriend, and they pretend to date on that. So there's a cute bit of fake dating. It's honestly kind of friends to lovers, because it's not enemies to lovers, it's dislike to friends to lovers. And it was really cute. I would really recommend it if you are looking for a cute, easy, fun, wholesome read. I read quite a few of those this month, obviously a few bit deeper books, but also so many cute, fluffy, fun, wholesome romances, and this is definitely one, so I would recommend that. Because also their chemistry off the charts, so good. Then I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I've spoken about this so many times, so I'm going to keep it short. This was my first proper fancy book. I'd read Twilight, but after reading this I realised how obviously fantasy books are very different, and now I'm reading ACOTAR and I'm obviously realising that more. And I've always known that fantasy books are a lot more political, because in Twilight, if we're being honest, they're just vampires living in a human world. Bride is very much kind of vampire werewolf world. Obviously there are humans, but we mainly just focus on the vampires and the werewolves. So brief synopsis, if you have not read it, don't know what it's about, would like to find out. Misery is the main female character, and she is the daughter of a vampire councilman, and she was sent as, oh my god, what's it called? Basically, oh my god, I've literally forgotten the word. I'm so sorry. If I remember it, I will put it on the screen. But she was sent into the human world for 10 years as, insert word here. So like almost, it's not a commitment, but does it say on here what she was? Okay, I literally can't find the word in my mind or on Goodreads summaries. So anyway, Misery was sent to the human world as whatever that word is, and it is really going to annoy me that I don't know the word, but she was sent as that, and then the humans sent one to the vampire world so that they couldn't kind of harm each other. So she's used to living among the humans, and then she's been living with the humans, but suddenly she's called back because she's had an arranged marriage with a werewolf, the alpha. Low, because there is a change in government in the human world, and the past human councilman was happy making an alliance between the humans and the vampires, but this new one isn't. So the vampires need to make connections, and so they think the best way to do that is to do it with the werewolves. So Misery is the one that is sent to marry Lo, and she has to live with him for a year, so obviously a long time, and they do not know each other. Obviously vampires and werewolves typically are enemies, so do with that what you will. It was so good, so addictive. I read it I think within 24 hours. Just such good forced proximity, enemies to lovers, marriage of convenience, that type of thing, arranged marriage, so good. So much chemistry, tension. And then the next one that I read was The Start of Something. This is so cute. I gave it 4 stars. Did I tell you what I gave Bride? I gave Bride 4 stars. I don't know if I told you that. Anyway, Bethan is the main female character, and she moved into an apartment with her son. Her son's pretty young, and one day she's noticed that there is a cat that sits in the window of an apartment opposite, and one day there is a note in the window to her asking what type of flowers she has in her window. So she starts writing little messages back to this person, and this man is called Lachlan, and they start forming a little friendship there. But Bethan doesn't want to get too close because she is a single mother. She kind of, often when she starts dating people, she doesn't want to let them know straight away because she wants them to get to know her as herself rather than just as a parent. And Lachlan was recently in an accident. He's a soldier who's part of the army, and he was in an accident, so he is struggling. He can't really walk at the moment, so he does not want to meet Bethan until he is kind of in a better way, when he's feeling better, because he's almost ashamed of it. So they're both pretty happy for a while to be writing these notes. It's giving You Belong With Me music video, Taylor Swift, because they're writing little notes. I'm holding them up in the window while they like tape them. It's just so cute. And it was honestly really innocent. It's not a YA book, but it's called Goodreads describes it as a clean romance, so it's no spice or whatever, because I know some people don't like reading spice, so I'm trying to kind of let you know when books are low in that, so that then you can go for that, or if a book's YA. So this is not YA, but it's a clean romance, so good for those people. But it's so cute. I would recommend to everyone. I haven't really seen people talking about it, so here you go, make sure you read it because it is so good. I'm obsessed with it. Giggling, kicking my feet about it. Ugh. I loved it. Then I read If Only I Had Told Her, which I gave 3.5 stars. So this was the sequel to If He'd Been With Me, and If He'd Been With Me, I gave it 3.25 stars. I read it, was it February? I think it was February or January, I don't know, and I'd quite liked it. It was okay, but nothing too special. But I thought that this book was going to just be in Finn's point of view, and I thought it was going to be the same story but told in Finn's point of view, because often book series do that. They tell the story in the male point of view in another book, and I was really excited because I thought, well, clearly a lot's been going on, especially with his relationship with Sylvie. That was not the case. So the first third of the book was Finn's point of view, but it was mainly the last few days of If He'd Been With Me. I don't really want to say like what happened, because if you've not read it and you don't want any spoilers, there you go. And then the next bit was Jack, Finn's best friend, his point of view, and then the last bit we were back to Autumn, seeing how she adjusts and deals with everything that happened at the end of If He'd Been With Me. I thought it was it was good, don't get me wrong, and obviously there's lots of hard topics, so again, look up trigger warnings, but there was just something, I don't know, I just kind of struggled with it. It just couldn't quite connect with it, especially because I think I was more disappointed because my own fault. I think I just read the title If Only I'd Told Her and thought, well, it just must be Finn's point of view, and obviously some of it was Finn's point of view. I think I must have just seen that. And then yeah, because the first part of the blurb is talking about Finn's feelings for Autumn, so I just thought it was going to be like that, and I was really excited because I thought I was going to like Finn a lot, which I did, don't get me wrong, but we didn't get much of his point of view, which then disappointed me. But again, that's a me problem. That's not the author's fault for me not realizing what the book was about. So there you go. But more like, if you didn't realize, then just letting you know that's not what it's about. But it definitely provided a lot of closure and gave a lot of explanations. So I do think it was really good. And if you've read the first book, I would recommend it. But as a series as a whole, I would just say it's nothing insanely special. So if you've got other books on your TBR, I'd say prioritize those, especially like those are the other books that I'm talking about in this video that were so much better than this series. The series is fine, and also I feel like because it's more YA, it's a type of a YA, because there's some YA books like one of the next books I'm going to talk about where yes, it's YA, but I still love it. Obviously I'm only 19, it's not like I'm, you know, full-on adult, so far from YA, but that sometimes YA books, especially If He'd Been With Me, more than If Only I Told Her, just feel pretty childish, and it gets to the point where it's like, well, I just don't really want to be reading about that. So yeah, there you go. So the next book, as I've already said, was 5 stars. I gave this one 4.75 stars. It just didn't quite hit the 5 stars, and 4.75 stars feels so mean. It's like, just give it 5 stars, but it wasn't quite 5 stars, but it was so good. I've not read a Holly Jackson book in ages. I've only read, I just ran out of phone storage, so sorry if the angle has changed slightly. Anyway, 5 Survive. I think I was saying that A Good Girl's Guide to Murder I read, but ages ago, so it's my first Holly Jackson book in a while. So brief synopsis: Red is the main female character, and she and 5 of her friends go on a road trip because they can't afford to get the plane down for their spring break, so they decide to rent an RV. Well, they borrow it from one of the friends' uncles, so not really renting it, they just borrow it to go down to Florida. And on the way, their RV breaks down, so they have to stop. Obviously they can't keep going, they're in the middle of nowhere, no reception, middle of the night, and after the group fix the tire that was punctured, they find out that all of their tires have been shot at. and the tank full of all the oil. So they are stuck, cannot go, no reception, and there is a sniper outside the truck. And they are told that they can go as long as the one person who is keeping a secret tells them the secret. So obviously all 6 of them are like, well, who's keeping the secret? And yeah, it kind of goes from there. They are all revealing different secrets because obviously no one knows kind of which secret is kind of required. I will say it was so addictive. I read it in one sitting. I sat down at night and I stayed up till about 2 a.m. reading it. I just couldn't stop. It is set in, let me try and find a page so that you can see. Okay, so like each chapter almost is a different time. There are chapters within it, but kind of it's separated into times, and so you can also see like when the times are going to be because the page is darker. And I was like, well, I'm just going to get to the next time, and then obviously I just kept reading until it was over. It was so good. I would really recommend it. I just think it was so good. It was definitely worth the hype, and it is YA. So the next book that I read was The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. I gave this one 4.25 stars. This is also published as just being called The Surrogate, so if you see either, it's the same book. The Surrogate Mother and The Surrogate is the same book. Mine was called The Surrogate Mother. Oddly, so the book on my Kindle was called The Surrogate Mother, that's what the title did, but when I marked it as reading via my Kindle on Goodreads, it then called it The Surrogate, so I don't really know what's going on there. Anyway, Abby is the main female character and she is desperate to have a baby. Her and her husband cannot conceive one naturally together, but her eggs are the issue, so IVF's not working, and they'd found someone who they were going to adopt a baby off, who it was a teen mum who was pregnant, but then suddenly they find out that the mum has decided to keep the baby, so they are left without a baby, and they were prepared and they're looking into different options. They're thinking, well, the husband's suggesting that they adopt maybe an older baby, but Abby's pretty set on having a baby, a young baby, wants to raise them from, you know, being newly born rather than adopting a older child, because she'd kind of prepared for it. She was expecting to have a newborn baby. She bought everything because obviously they were adopting the newborn before that fell through. So Abby's assistant Monica is aware of these struggles and she kind of nominates herself to be the surrogate for them. She says that she is happy to do it, that she doesn't want a baby yet, so she's happy to do it. You know, she wants to go to art school, and so she says to Abby, I will do it as long as you can fund art school because I can't afford it, but you know, if you help me then I will kind of help you. So they say, bet, let's do it. Abby's husband has a few reservations, but after speaking to Monica's friends and family, they decide that it's a good idea. As you can probably imagine, you know, it's a Frida McFadden book. There are lots of secrets, there are lots of things that are going wrong after Monica becomes pregnant, and yeah, I just did not know which direction the book was going to go. I really enjoyed it. I have not really heard many people talk about it, so I would definitely recommend it if you haven't read it, haven't heard of it. It was really good, and I 100% recommend that you read it if you are looking for another thriller. It was so good. Then the next book that I read was Forget Me Not by Claire Allen. I gave this one 4 stars. It is another thriller. Also, sorry, wait, this isn't in the order that I read them because for some reason Goodreads kind of, if I finish a few books in the same day, it puts them in the wrong order, so I'm just going from the bottom up to the top, so this isn't in the right order as the one that I read them in. You'll be able to see in the 24-hour readathon the actual order that I read them in, but I'm just going to keep going now. That's still all the books that I read in March, it's just in a different order, these few. So Elizabeth was out walking her dog one morning and she comes across a girl called Claire who is unfortunately dying after an attack. So Elizabeth stays with her, calls the ambulance, but unfortunately Claire does not make it. This book, you're in Elizabeth's point of view, the one who found Claire, and then you're also in the point of view of one of Claire's best friends, Rachel. And so Rachel is a mother, she's a teacher, and you're following her in the aftermath of Claire's death because whoever kind of killed Claire is still out there, and he's not done, or they are not done. They're on a mission to keep going, if you know what I mean. And Rachel and Elizabeth, and also Rachel's other friends, Claire's parents, are getting these cryptic messages and suspicious things are happening to them. This was my first Claire Allen book and I really enjoyed it. I obviously, with a thriller, it gets to the point where you've read so many that some parts are slightly predictable, but it was still so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. oh my god. And it was just like so fast paced, and I can't wait to read another book by her before. It's also on Kindle Unlimited, so there you go, make sure you read it. Then the next book that I read was Lost and Found by Nicole Williams. This was on my March TBR. I keep forgetting to tell you which books were on my March TBR. They're the ones that I read, sorry. I'm so sorry, I ran out of storage again. What was I saying? I was talking about Lost and Found. Brief synopsis, I gave it 3.5 stars. So Rowan is the main character, and she has just graduated high school, and she really wants to go to art school, but her mum has told her that she will only pay for art school if she goes to the mum's friend's ranch for the summer called Willow Springs. And that's because Rowan has kind of not been, I keep deleting so many things, so I don't know why my storage keeps going. But anyway, I need to be so quick. So Rowan goes to this ranch and she meets Jesse, and Jesse is the son of the family that she's staying with, and they, if you know what I mean, they get pretty close. They obviously get spending a lot of time together. It's a classic small town cowboy romance. It was really cute, very fast paced, very quick, easy read, nothing too kind of crazy, revolutionary, but it was really good. I would really recommend it still. 3.5 stars, obviously a really good book. Then I read Body Check by Elle Kennedy. This is on Kindle Unlimited. This is definitely my least favorite Elle Kennedy book. It just, I don't know, it was so like predictable, but kind of not in a good way whatsoever. So Hayden is the main female character. Also 2.75 stars, don't know if I said that. Hayden has returned home because her dad is the owner of a hockey team, and he is under a lot of scrutiny right now, and he's also going through a divorce. So she returns home, and one night she is out and she hooks up with this random man, and he turns out to be a player on the hockey team that her dad owns. So she hooks up with Brody, who plays for this hockey team, and it goes from that. It's in third person, which I really didn't like. I just felt like I couldn't really connect with the characters. Obviously kind of minor criticisms. It was fine, definitely my least favorite Elle Kennedy book. But yeah, I don't really mind flying through these books just because I spoke about them in my 24-hour readathon. So that's. And then I read The Real Deal. I loved this book so much. I gave it 4.25 stars. It was like Dance Moms and Gossip Girl. So Belle, the main character, when she was 12, she joined The Real Deal, which is a reality TV show trying to make young girls famous basically and good at dancing, singing and acting, being triple threats. And well, she's now 26, and something had gone down as the TV show ended that heavily involved Belle, and she hasn't really spoken to anyone about it. She's not really in the public eye anymore, but a reunion is happening and she agrees to do the reunion. It goes from there. I keep saying that after literally every single thing. It goes from there. But yeah, the drama, just the drama, full stop. The gossip, it was so good. I was obsessed with it. Then I read Want to Know Secret by Frida McFadden. I gave this one 3.75 stars. So April is the main character, and she is a kind of famous baking YouTuber, and she starts receiving these anonymous text messages that are kind of threatening, saying things that people basically should not know. And she's kind of like, oh, what the hell is going on? What is going on? And yeah, but she has got a lot of secrets that she's keeping. She also starts getting lots of comments on her YouTube that are things, again, how do people know these things? But like I said, she's keeping a lot of secrets. It kind of, yeah, it just follows her life getting these secrets. It's probably one of my least favorite Frida books, but it was still really good, don't get me wrong. Like 3.75 stars, really good. But Frida books are normally exceptional. It was good, kind of slightly predictable, dare I say, but still really good, do not get me wrong. Then I read Revenge Puck. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This is on Kindle Unlimited. So it's such a basic storyline. I've read it so many times, so I'll be quick. Elle is the main character, and she's dumped by Christian, well, the night before playoffs, and he says to her, you can sleep with anyone, I literally don't care as long as you don't sleep with Preston. Preston is his opponent, his main kind of, I guess, enemy, and Elle says, bet I'm gonna sleep with Preston. So she meets Preston, and at first she just says, look, can I just get a selfie with you, kind of pretend that we hooked up to annoy Christian. But Preston hates Christian as much as Christian hates Preston. So he says, you know what, let's take it further. Like, can you make this sign about me kind of pretending that we've slept together and all that? And so they kind of start fake dating, but then it leads to something more. It's such a classic story of a girl, like the main female character, sleeping with the opponent of her ex. I mean, it's like a fine storyline, but it gets to a point where I've read it so many times that kind of sick of it, but like it was still fine. It's maybe my fault for reading it, but I didn't know that's what it was going to be about. Then the last book that I read in March was The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I do not have enough good things to say about this book. It was so good. I gave it 4.25 stars, but honestly it could be higher than that. So Hannah and Christopher are desperate for a baby and they both work at a hospital, and one day this little girl called Janie is brought in and she's been kind of abused, they think. So she needs to go into foster care after she is kind of helped in the hospital doing things that hospitals do. Like Christopher operates on her arm because she has a lot of broken bones. So she needs a foster parent. So they say, you know, we'll look after her because they know her. Jamie's especially very comfortable with Christopher. She isn't too keen on Hannah, but she really likes Christopher. So they foster her. But then as the potential kind of people who are going to adopt her come around, they decide that none of them are the right fit, just because Janie's got a lot of different issues. She needs a lot of therapy. She's traumatized. So Hannah and Christopher decide to adopt her themselves. But there are so many issues because Janie is drama. I mean, it is really sad, but also just, I ran out of storage again. I have deleted so many things. I don't understand why it's not working. Anyway, yeah, it was a very good book. I've never read anything like it before. It was so good. So I'm just gonna end this video now because I don't want to have to keep stopping, and I've gone through all the books. I hope you enjoyed. I am so sorry. I actually need a camera so badly because this is getting out of hand because my phone is just full of YouTube videos. So yeah, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Please comment down below how many books you read in March, and yeah, if you've read any of the same books as me that I did in March, comment down below, let me know. I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.